It's a new year, new goodies, and 2 new stencils. Wait till you see what you can do.
We have another greeting stencil because the first one was wildly popular.
Yes.
And we have a nice circular rose stencil. It's just beautiful. We've done some fun things with them.
Absolutely.
Come play with us.
And ta-da, here they are, as you said.
Circular rose and more greetings.
And these are 6x6 stencils, and they, on the back, of course, you are going to have ideas, and I bet we'll be showing you some of those today. And we're going to get started with our rose. And
which I love because it's got this gorgeous focal which you can turn anyway. You can also flip this over to get it the different direction, but it's got words. This world is full of beautiful things like you. Right. So that's great. You can mask those off separately or use them with it. I like
and
that.
Here's an example. And this is just so fresh and pretty. And I do like the butterflies floating around.
Isn't that beautiful? And so inking through with distress inks, that's how we're getting the look that you see here. Plus masking off the words to use them separately. So I want to point out, you can see that this says, "This world is full of beautiful things," but in this one you can mask off one piece at a time, this world, and then do is full, and then do this separately. So you can, as long as you're masking off, you can use them any way you like.
Okay, and you're going to show us that.
And I am going to. I'm not going to show. I'm going to show you how to do the inking on the focal. So masking off, we just use stencil tape to mask that off, and I've masked over the words, and I've taped it in place onto my cardstock. So I've got that right where I want it, and I actually did this directly onto the card in this case. So back here, the card actually opens up.
It's a real card, huh?
It's a real card, and I've got the mini Distress Inks #1 set, and I don't think I used the orange. I think I only used these 3, and let me show you how I did that. I'm going to start with the yellow.
So you're starting with the lightest color
I am starting with the lightest color on purpose.
Okay.
And I'm using the art daubers for this because they work so well. I can direct it right where I want it. I'm just going to place it right in the center of that rose. So I want kind of a nice light rose there. Another thing that I did, because there is no green, you notice, in this set, but if you look at the card, there's green there. I also went over the leaves with yellow, and then I hit them with the blue, and I can show you that to turn them green.
Clever lady.
So a little of that. And then the pink we use to just finish out that rose, and then you just blend it in.
That's going to give you a little orange too, I think.
Yeah, it's right at the edges. You're going to get that little bit of orange, and just around the edges like that. I think I need to re-ink. I've been using this ink pad quite a bit. So that's all you do. Just go around in a circle, blend it like that. Continue if you want it a little darker, which I would. I like it nice and dark around the edges. But then I'm also going to pick up that blue, like I said, and just lightly, I'm going to tap it off a little bit, make sure I don't do this too much. Just lightly go over that yellow.
And magically, it's turning green.
And you get a beautiful green. So there you go. You can do that without having a green in this set.
And this is one of the things that I love about stencils, is that you can do some very simple techniques, and yet they have such dramatic results.
Right.
And so you can tell around the edge of the card, it was also kind of done with the ink daubers, with the pink.
Just a little bit around the edges. You've got some nice, oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to show the inside. We're showing that other piece. So here it's on the right, inside it's on the left. Let it get cut off.
Sure.
And then and then the like you. And we'll get in closer just so you can see the variety of colors. So
I focused the yellow in the center, and then I went to pink, and then I went to the blue out at the edges.
And pink and blue will make purple on top of each
so
other.
You got a little purple there.
So very nice.
And we're also using the pink hearts holographic paper.
Yes.
So just a little matting around those little tags here that you can see.
That's really nice. Just gives a little bit of flash, and then of course the teal butterfly dazzles are doing their job too. Very lovely and
easy.
Simple. Yeah.
Easy, not a lot of things that are going on there. And I didn't add any papers other than that specialty paper, so it's ready to go.
Now this rose is facing the same way as the stencil as it appears in the package.
Right.
And this was done with?
This is done with the Cat's Eye Q pigment ink. So there's the yellow, green, and the reds. And so those were done just the same way I just showed you. You can use ink daubers, you can use cosmetic wedges, and just go right through that stencil.
But again, you've done light in the center and then darker around the edges, and I think that's such a that kind of glow is happening.
And something I want to point out with the ink daubers, because they are small enough you can really get into a small area, I don't even think you have to mask out. Debbie did this card and she did not mention masking off. She just used this right in that area, and if it goes over a little bit, it really doesn't matter much. It's still going to look nice that way.
And then she's chosen to do the words as they appear on the stencil, but just separating them.
Right.
And did she do the inside?
She did.
She did.
That's what I'm waiting for. So
okay.
Here's another technique in itself. So for the inside, she took the stencil and she did this again, but she did it just in the focused areas that you see here. She did it up around the rose, and she did these little swirls and a little bit of these leaves. And then she cut, and I already cut a little bit of away so you can see. She cut away in an area just so she could have those leaves.
Kind of gives it a self-matting, doesn't it?
It does. Just leave a little bit of a 1/16 of an inch going around. And then you just cut it out, and when you're done you have that piece that you see on the card. But she also cut around this rose, just around that area
to
right
make a rose
there,
bed.
And foam taped it over that piece down below. I thought that was a fantastic
I think that's
idea.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I also love having this done on pattern paper. It's going to give it richness and depth as opposed to just white cardstock.
Right.
White
it's not
cardstock is fine.
It's
but,
fine. It's beautiful, but it's not quite as stark if you want something a little bit more muted.
I like that. Very, very nice.
Beautiful.
Very pretty. Fun. Okay, now we're going to go into the sparkly world, right? Okay.
Sparkles.
So now this is the stencil turned over because you have that choice, and this time it is sparkly. So what's going on here?
So we're using Nouveau Glimmer Paste for this. So first of all, actually that's one thing that we're using. The other thing is the microfine silk glitter. This is antique silver silk glitter. Now why would you need both?
That makes no sense. But
so we'll show you, because she wanted kind of a two-tone effect. So I've got the stencil, I've got it turned over so the words are actually backwards. That's how she placed it on this paper, and she kind of angled it, and I've got it all taped in place.
Do you know what paper that is?
What paper that is? It's the wood.
Serenity?
It's not Serenity. It's the other one. It's the new one. Nature's Touch. Nature's Touch. It's that
I'm
one.
sorry to do that to you.
You know, and if I turn it over and you see the back, that's what tells you. That's Nature's Touch.
Okay.
Okay.
But I just think it's fun because this is a very feminine look, and I don't know that you'd go to something called Nature's Touch. So,
but I would, because I'm very botanical in nature. So there you go. Anyway, we're going to swipe across the entire piece, and
the whole thing.
The whole thing, and it really doesn't take much, and it's not going to take much time. I'm going to scoot it across. You can hear me scraping on the stencil. If I'm quiet, you can really hear that. Okay.
And you want to hear that because that way you're not leaving extra on top of the stencil, because you don't need to do that.
Now I want to remove it entirely, so I'm going to remove that stencil tape. Remove the stencil. I'm going to lift it. I try not to slide it off. Make sure you're lifting it so it doesn't ruin the image. Okay, beautiful in and of itself already.
Now the little warping that you're seeing is because there's water in with that texture paste. So as it dries, it will flatten.
And afterward, let's see, before it dries, now I'm going to take out the antique silver silk glitter. And she said she just sort of tilted it so that she could sprinkle it on approximately where the rose is. So I'm hoping so you can see this.
And yet it looks kind of bronzy.
It does. Well, when the gold of the glimmer paste dries, it changes in color. It gets a little brighter.
Okay.
And so then it will stand out a little bit more. And let me tap that off.
Ah.
Make sure
And
I
magic
got
happens.
the extra And there you go.
Okay.
It does look paler here. That's because things are still wet. So when it dries, this is the look you're going to get.
Magically turn into this. Isn't that amazing?
Beautiful.
Now, one thing about this, these are by Tonic, and we have switched to these because they are same product that we've carried before, but these are quite a bit less expensive.
Cool.
So we've got all these colors, including the gold that
and
you
there's
had.
a lot in there. I can't see how many ounces, but I know.
But there's a bunch.
There's a bunch.
There you go. So nice to see, and big difference as it appears.
And I love that she just used beautiful things on the front. So the world is full of beautiful things, but she just used that.
I'm sure we should all be as happy as kings.
Beautiful you.
Oh, nice.
So also combining the words in a different way.
Yeah. And this is what those look like on black and on silver cardstock. So kind of starting at the top, you can see the differences.
Lots of different colors.
Yeah.
I do
the
like
pink
the
doesn't work on black very
I like
well.
seeing on the black or on the white to see, okay, that's a good idea. I can use this. I especially like this one. It's called Moonstone. So it's white. You can hardly see it here, but when you see it here, it's just an entirely different look. It brings out
kind
a
of
color in
iridescent.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very neat. Okay, now
into our next stencil, into our
right.
more greetings stencil.
And as you said, our first greeting stencils was so very popular, so we decided to give more.
Okay, now there are 10 words on there. Some of them go together like I love you, but 10 words total. Plus you're getting this great bird and branch, which I think is a great idea because you've got this extra little embellishment.
And what might you do with it? Well, how about using it on a rectangle swing card, just like this?
Absolutely beautiful. And I love that because now you've got that sentiment or that greeting on the front and the sentiment on the inside, and you can switch that bird from right to left. Just flip the stencil over.
Just flip it over. And I think this is a nice way to show how the pattern papers just add a richness, and having that up there is just so pretty.
Right. You just want to place your papers strategically so you have a little extra, especially this one because this is from the Songbirds collection.
Right. So that's
that nest down there. It's a great idea.
Very pretty, just very, very nice.
So
now,
beautiful.
The rectangular swing is available as already die cut, ready to go. The paper patterns are included.
Right,
There's also a template.
Oh, a template, that's right, for the paper patterns.
Right.
Okay.
So,
and these are gold thin lines dazzles as well, all around the edge of that card.
So there's 63 in that package, but you can see just what a really, just a little touch it adds.
Right. And I don't know if we noticed yet that these are actually embossed, so you can use your, I'm going to tilt it up a little so you can see the shine. Might be better on the inside one because it's a little bit bigger. There we go.
There we go.
So just use your Versamark right through the stencil and then dust it with brown embossing powder, and there you go.
No, I didn't notice that, so great. Okay. Now we're going to go to another, and you can see how you can just add this for your messages, and it just does a really, really nice job.
So you've got a nice big focal. This is using the Botanical Frames paper toll. You stack that up, you've got a beautiful focal, and then you can just add your message along with that.
Want a closer look at that paper toll, you can see, so there's the piece, and then the other areas have been lifted up with foam tape, and it just builds a very nice piece on top.
Beautiful look.
And on the inside, birthday wishes, big and bold and very nice, yes.
And a little extra paper toll there to accent that. So
these were also heat embossed.
Right,
with,
so really easy to do. And if you wanted, that's kind of 2 cards there, with love for one and leave the center blank, or
there you go.
Birthday wishes for another one.
You can do it all. Now here is another one, and we've just used the Smile.
Right.
Very
So you've got
pretty.
Smile, that's using the texture paste again.
Right.
The glimmer paste.
Right.
The glimmer paste. And then inking through the stencil for the bird, and you just spread a little bit of that paste on there. And
Just
you've
as
got
a
a nice
highlight.
little accent on there.
And again, this is from Songbirds, so we'll
I
back
love
up
the
a little
circles that are used, and that's with our circles and scallops.
Just happen to have it right here.
guide.
Kind of a must-have basic thing.
It is. I will tell you that when this came out, we used it so often that we just stuck this on the wall above our die cutting machine because we use it all the time.
So very pretty, and I do like how you can just simply turn it over and get whatever size you want. And just because
love
on the
that.
inside,
Just a
very
little
pretty.
spray of those leaves, and that's all that's needed.
And isn't that fun? Cutting a little notch in your fold and doing the twine through it
Yeah.
and letting those just kind of
Good
swirl
idea.
above. So, 2 stencils,
Two
tons of ideas.
Tons of beautiful looks.
Yes.
Several different looks in there, and just great for a new year. New
That's
stencils.
exactly what we want. We'll see you next time with more new goodies.
Bye-bye.